Misfits, people ask me all the time about tools that I use in my life and business to maximize my success. I usually start by telling them one of my most powerful tools is my morning habits. And of course, they look at me somewhat confused. I then explain how important it is for me to center myself and how I begin my day and plan for my success. It's critical to consistent high performance. And it doesn't take me long, about 5 or 10 minutes, because I use a great resource called the 5-Minute Journal. The 5-Minute Journal is the simplest, most effective way I've ever found to start your day in the right mindset, doing the right things, and set yourself up for success. And it is exactly what it says, a 5-minute exercise you can do each day. Let me ask you, if you could reach your next level in your life and business by spending just 5 minutes of focused time a day, would you do it? I bet you would. And I know it works because I've experienced the power of it. And you can get your 5-minute journal simply by going to www.misfitentrepreneur.com/journal. That's misfitentrepreneur.com/journal. Do what I do. Use this amazing resource to give yourself an edge in your performance and your success. Get your 5-minute journal today.
Misfit entrepreneurs, I want to tell you about an amazing resource that will have tremendous impact on your business and your revenue. I have used this solution in multiple businesses and it has made an incredible difference. Let me start by asking you something. Do you know how much it costs your business when just one salesperson doesn't step up to deliver? Do you really know? The cost can easily exceed 6 figures for just one bad hire, not just from the time, effort, and resources in hiring them, but from the lost business and downtime as well, as you have to go find a new salesperson and everything surrounding that. And the last thing any growing business can afford is to have a failed hire, especially in sales, the revenue driver for the company. But what if there was a way to know someone checked all the boxes of a great sales hunter and closer before you ever hired them? That's the solution that I found from a company called Sales Drive. They have created a solution called Drive Test. It's a powerful hiring tool that separates high-performance salespeople from pretenders by measuring the most critical personality trait needed for success in sales: drive. Drive is composed of 3 non-teachable traits shared by all top producers: the need for achievement, competitiveness, and optimism. And knowing who has drive before the interview dramatically increases your chances of selecting salespeople who will produce for you while avoiding those costly bad hires. I've used the solution and it works. In fact, it works so well, I've referred them to every company that I work with. And they've created a very special offer so that you can try them for free as well. You can get a free drive test assessment today at www.misfitentrepreneur.com/sales drive. That's misfitentrepreneur.com/sales drive, all one word. Start using the drive test in your hiring and never hire a bad salesperson again.
Hello, Misfit entrepreneurs, and welcome to another year-end edition of the Misfit Entrepreneur. This year, I'm going to do something a little different. I've just returned from spending almost a month overseas and competing in New Zealand in the Ironman World Championships. And while I was on that trip, I promised my family that I would take the time with them and just unplug. And so that meant no podcasts or anything during that time. And I really stuck to it. It was an absolutely amazing trip and just such a wonderful experience. For all of my Kiwi listeners, your country is truly, truly incredible. I hope everybody watching and listening gets a chance to visit it someday. I started out saying that this end of year episode is going to be a little bit different, where usually I do a recap of all the episodes throughout the year and sharing wisdom from them. Instead, I'm going to share my top 5 lessons that I'm taking away from 2024 and my best advice going into 2025. I've had a lot of time to think on these things while I traveled and thought it would be great to share them with you. So here we go. My top 5 lessons that I'm taking from 2024. I think you may be surprised on some of these. Number 1, you can do so much in a year. If you've listened to me for a while, you've probably heard me say that people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. As I look back on everything that we accomplished across all of our business this year and with this show, the list is a mile long. Most would not think it was ever even possible. We had our best year for this show ever in terms of downloads and growth in subscribers. We had one of the best years ever in our investment education business. And in our software firm, we more than doubled revenues and clients. Our other entities had great years as well. None of this was possible without the great team and partners that we have in those businesses. And it was and always has been a team effort. But here's the lesson. At the beginning of the year, like most businesses or entrepreneurs, we sit down, we set our goals of what we wanted to achieve. We created milestones for them and plans and all of that. But once the year starts, as everybody knows or figures out, things don't always go as planned. But because we had a mission and we knew what the end results that we wanted to get to looked like, we kept going. Day after day, week after week, month after month. It wasn't always pretty. There were some major challenges that came in, setbacks and unexpected curveballs along the way, but we kept at it, kept inching forward and toward that result. And in the process of doing that every day, day in, day out, magic happened. We accomplished more than we originally set out to do. Some of it even came in the final weeks of the year, even while I was traveling. But it happened because we kept at it and didn't stop in pursuit of the end goals. The same can happen for you. Nothing is going to go exactly as planned in 2025. Mark my words on that. But if you keep at it every day, pushing forward towards your goals, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish and where you'll be at the end of the year. It's the long game, and you have to think in terms of results over a longer time instead of just a short time frame like a week. So don't get discouraged if you start out and are not quite on track, because at any moment, things can do and will change for you. So just don't stop or give up. Number 2, stay focused in your lane. One thing going into 2024 that I promised myself I would do better is to stay focused in the prospective lanes for my business and not chase shiny objects. After a year of disciplining myself into this habit, I can say it is incredibly valuable. Like many founders and entrepreneurs, I have a blessing and I have a curse in that I see opportunities everywhere all the time around me. It's almost impossible to turn off. And because of that, in years past, I would chase shiny object opportunities in my businesses. And I'd spend a lot of time, effort, and money not getting much in return or even losing going down those paths, where if I just stayed focused in the lane of my core businesses and put all that effort, time, money, and everything there, the business would be more successful. And I wouldn't add a bunch of unnecessary stuff on top of my plate either. In 2024, I was much better at saying no. No to other business ideas that were not really a fit. No to business opportunities, including potential partnerships that were at best a question of maybe this could work. No to adding in more for the sake of doing more. That's something that I think we all do. Like if we're idle, like we think we have to be doing something. No, that's actually the best thing that you can get to. Instead, I did that. I stayed very focused on the core of my businesses, the 80% that drive the results, and did everything I could to improve them and expand their reach and capability. And for example, in our software company, we have a very clear client avatar, and we've proven through years of marketing and studying and testing the different marketing mediums and the methods, what drives the most clients for the best margins to our doorstep. And so we doubled down on those and we kept at it. We got rid of a lot of the other things and didn't take on a bunch of shiny object stuff throughout the year. And it was amazing, right? We got rid of all those things that were stealing time, effort, and money that were not even close to profitable. And as a result, the business more than doubled in size, and our MRR, our monthly recurring revenue, grew 185%. And yes, our expenses increased as the business grew, adding in the right people and the systems, building those out, continue to build those out, I should say, to ensure they could deliver. But our profit margin grew by over 80% as well, even with investing ahead for the growth that we were having. Our team was masterful at staying disciplined to our core focus, our lane. And I can also say that I found I had a lot more time to think bigger picture and really better serve our team as a leader, right? In 2025, you need to do your best job to stay in your lane and cut out the shiny objects. Listen to your inner monologue. Learn to say no more than you say yes, because I can't count how many times I'm evaluating something in my inner monologue, my gut's telling me, don't do this. Focus on what you need to focus on, right? And so do that. Stay focused, because where your focus goes, your results will flow as well. All right. Number 3, pay attention to what you are buying. After years of interviewing the most successful entrepreneurs, and from my own experience and in my journey, something really began to become clear to me this year. And maybe it's because I'm getting a little older, maybe a tad bit wiser. But after a while, you begin to notice different patterns, bigger picture patterns, right? I've talked many times about how the most successful and wealthy think differently and the thought patterns that go with that. But one thing really stood out to me this year, and that's how the most successful and wealthy approach what they are buying. Say it again, how the successful and wealthy approach what they are buying. There's kind of an overarching sort of driver in how different groups of people buy things. For example, poor people will always buy stuff. Ambitious people will always buy education. Lazy people will buy distractions. But the rich typically will always buy time. The worst of these to me are those that are lazy because they waste their money on distractions where they could instead be putting it to work or using it to help themselves level up. But because they are lazy, which really means that they're afraid to step out and potentially fail, right? They distract themselves so that they don't have to face these things. And really, it's just a sad existence. But if you notice, I said that the rich buy time. Time's our most precious asset, right? It's finite. We only have so much time with those that we love and on this earth. So the rich prioritize their purchases around time. And so that may mean they purchase assets that produce income, which allows them to have more time, or they use their wealth to purchase experiences with their families that create lasting memories. For example, one of the things that we did in New Zealand was go cage diving with great white sharks. It's one of the few places in the world that you can actually do this. And my wife and daughter and I will never, ever forget that experience. And I'll never forget being so proud of my 12-year-old suiting up to go in 55-degree water inside a cage with a great white. That experience was worth every penny, and the time that we spent together was so precious. It'll last forever for us and our families. So let me ask you, what are you buying? As you go into 2025, pay attention to what you're truly buying with your purchases, because in the end, what you trade your money for, what you make the conscious decision to buy, is a lot more important than you think. Number 4, AI is not the answer, but it is useful and you should be using it. If anything can be said about 2024, it's that it was a year of all things AI, from being pushed into any product possible to being touted as the next revolution on Wall Street. AI really dominated all the headlines. But something else also became apparent. AI is not the answer to all our problems like many said that it would or could be. At least for now, AI is just another tool that we can yield to help us to be more effective and efficient. It's useful in that way. Here are some of the best uses that I found for it this year, and I'm specifically talking about using GPT. I know there's different models and everything out there, so whichever one you find that works best for you, but here's some of the ways that I used it. It is great for analyzing a ton of information at once to give you the most important details quickly. So, for example, I had 2 candidates for a very important executive role that I was looking to hire. I had their resumes, I had their interview notes, I had details of work examples that we had asked for, we had aptitude scores, all that stuff. So I loaded all of that in the chat GPT with the description of the role and the key things that I was looking for in the hire. And I asked it to analyze the information and tell me the pros and cons of each candidate, any red flags that potentially they had, and which was really best suited for the role. It gave me some very valuable insight. It even gave me some great follow-up questions for each candidate. And ultimately, the candidate who I thought would be the best fit is who it suggested. But in the end, I had to make the decision. I had to own the decision as the business owner, right? AI cannot do that. I used AI across all my businesses for analyzing and creating content, creating SOPs, documenting things, even improving like my trading strategies and processes, having it analyze that and give me pointers to be more effective, more efficient, creating tracking sheets and just a host of other resources. But again, it's me that has to put those things to use and follow them. AI cannot do it all for me, at least not yet fully, right? I even used AI to help me with training and nutrition for my training and everything in Ironman to ensure that I was doing everything as optimally as possible. And it helped, especially with my nutrition planning. I could go on, but I think you kind of get the idea. I think the lesson here is that if you are not using AI in your everyday activities, you're missing a great opportunity to augment yourself and become more efficient and effective, helping you buy more time. I guarantee you that your competition is using it. So if you haven't jumped in and started learning how to put the amazing tool of AI to work for you, 2025 is the time to do so. All right, number 5, there are very few things that truly matter, but the ones that do they must be a top priority. There are so many things that just don't matter in the end. They don't, but they suck up our energy, our time, our emotions, and so on. In fact, when you get down to it, most of the things that we end up worried about or that we think will happen to us never do, but we let them affect us, sometimes for days, weeks, even years for some on end. Most people sacrifice true happiness because they're scared of breaking through their self-imposed barriers that are really, for most, nothing more than figments of their imagination, instead of really just doing what they know they need to do. The things that truly matter are worth the sacrifice, effort, delayed gratification, and frankly, we should spend the bulk of our time that we buy in these areas. For me, family is something that truly matters. It's worth more than anything to me. No amount of success, money, and material things can replace my family. Doing all I can to help my family, spend time with them, be present with them is worth everything that it takes. And yes, I work really hard and smart, but a long time ago, I set my life up to prioritize the most important things like family. Other things that truly matter are the work it takes to create great friendships and maintain them. The same goes for business partnerships. The great ones are like a marriage, and no matter what you go through, you have to work through the challenges and things needed to succeed together and have each other's back. Your core values should truly matter and never be sacrificed for something as trivial as money or power. Have you ever written down your core values? If not, do so this year. Your health truly matters because as you go, so does everything else in your life. It must be a priority. Health is a form of wealth, and a focus on it can certainly help you buy more time. If you haven't done so, read the book Good Energy by Casey Means. It will be pretty eye-opening for you. Like I said, in the end, there are very few things that truly matter, but family, friends, and those you have close relationships with, your principles, your values, health, and so on do matter, and they should be prioritized above the rest. There will always be something, some issue, some problem, something to worry about. But those things will pass, they'll fade, they'll come and go. Your family, your true friends, business partners, a clear conscience, and health will always be with you. Make them a priority. All right, so with that said, what's my best advice going into 2025? Well, first off, find a way to use these lessons to help you in your life and your entrepreneur journey. Second, always be ready for anything. After trading the markets for over 20 years successfully, one thing I can honestly say is that I never know what's going to happen next. I have to be ready for anything. So I do my best to think of all potential outcomes in the short and the long term to determine what I'll do for them ahead of time, right? I do this in my business as well. I also put protections in place, right? To protect me in case one of the decisions I make goes wrong, to mitigate some of that risk, right? No one can think of every scenario, right? But you can think of and plan for a lot of them. And in the markets, it's what I will do based upon a price action up, down, sideways in a given time frame. In business, it's how my teams and I will respond to potential outcomes of different strategies, decisions we make, paths that we go, right? Being prepared for both sides, good and bad, right? I started with that lesson of what's possible to do in a year because anything can happen, and many times the payoff doesn't come until far down the road and far down the line. For example, I made most of my money in the stock market on just 4 to 5 trades this year. I was prepared. I got the timing right. This made up for the failures on other trades and allowed me to hit my goal for the year. 3 of those trades did not happen till the fall. I waited all year to get those specific setups, and I took them when they came. It's the same in business. You have to be ready for anything, and then you have to be ready to act when that opportunity presents itself. That's entrepreneurship at its core. The last piece of advice that I will leave you with, and I know it sounds corny, But if you take it to heart, I assure you, it really isn't. Enjoy the journey. We are so blessed to be entrepreneurs and do what we do. We spend a lot of time in the valleys, way more than we want to, right? Working towards the peaks. When we get to the peaks, they are well worth it. The journey is worth it. And it's so important that we take time to enjoy it and celebrate it. So don't forget to savor your wins and take stock once in a while. Remember, people underestimate what they can accomplish in a year. So get out there and keep pushing forward to see what is possible for you. And if you get a chance, go back through the Misfit Entrepreneur episodes. So much value and wisdom in all of these. There's multiple MBAs in our guests and in everything we shared over the last year. So check that out. And give this episode a rating and review. Help share the show's messages, I always say. Get out there, share this with others, help others find that, find the different episodes that are best for them. Share those with others. Give our sponsors, some time and love if they can be a fit for you. And I really just want to wish you all a just wonderful 2025. I know how much potential that you have and is possible. And as I said, never underestimate what you can accomplish in a year. So go out there, go get them, make it happen. Have an awesome 2025.